Hi, everyone. I'm here with Hitesh, a Magoosh TOEFL student, and he has recently taken the at-home TOEFL Home Edition exam, and he's agreed to share his experience with us. Hitesh, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. And
Thank
to
you.
start out, why did you take the TOEFL? What are your plans?
No, I'm planning to study abroad. I'm planning to study in USA for the fall 21 intake. And due to the ongoing pandemic situation, I felt this was the right time to take it. I had ample time to prepare.
How did you feel going into your TOEFL Home Edition experience?
Certainly a stress-free experience, and it was seamless. There were no issues with it. And due to the pandemic situation, I couldn't go to the test center as it was far from my location. So I felt it was easier for me to take the TOEFL at home edition.
That's great to hear. So, when you signed up for the at home edition, was it easy to get the date and time that you preferred?
Yeah, there were many slots available, and there was no hassle in choosing my dates. Almost there were more than 10 slots available for each day. So I did get to select my preferable slot for the exam.
And were there any aspects of the home based TOEFL, like registering or paying the fee or taking the test itself, that were difficult or confusing at first?
No, no, not really. It's actually very similar to what you do in the test centers. And the registration process was seamless. There were no issues with the payment or registration. There were no hassles basically.
That's great to hear. Have you taken the regular TOEFL before?
No, this was my first time.
Nice. And can you describe the security check to us? We have a lot of students asking about what that's like.
No, the security check is actually very simple. The proctor initially asks you to show your room. The proctor basically demands you to show all the four corners of the room. And after that, you're good to go. You just need to show your ID proof. In my case, it was my passport. They will verify it with your name, and then you're good to go.
Did you use your computer to show the proctor around the room, or how did you do that?
Yeah, I just used my laptop to show around the room. I just moved my laptop and showed the room.
And what about for note taking? Did you use a whiteboard or a piece of paper in a clear plastic sleeve?
I used a whiteboard and a marker. That's easier in my case because I can take more quantity of notes in it. Since TOEFL involves speaking and writing, you need to make notes. But what I request the students who are taking TOEFL in the upcoming days is they need to practice working with the whiteboard 1 or 2 days prior to the exam so that they get a hold of it, or else it becomes a little difficult on the test day.
That's a really good tip. So, are there any other aspects of the at home TOEFL that were especially easy or convenient? You mentioned signing up was an easy process and there were many time slots, and the convenience of taking it at home. Was there anything else that you found especially convenient?
One more aspect of the TOEFL at home test was you don't need to face anybody. There aren't anybody else who will distract you. When you take it at the test center, there are multiple people who are taking the listening and speaking, and people are typing. So you will get distracted, not to a very large extent, but yes, there is some amount of distraction. And at home test, all that is avoided, and it's hassle free. You can take it with peace of mind.
Overall, was the format of the test the same? Reading, writing, speaking, listening?
Yeah, the format was basically same, and the questions were really simple. I didn't feel it was difficult. Magoosh really helped me. I used to take practice test almost once in a day, a week prior to my test date. So it really helped me and gave me the confidence to face the test.
I'm so glad to hear that. What else did you do leading up to the TOEFL to prepare?
I basically just used the Magoosh practice test and all. I finished all the questions which were there. and I went through all the lessons. They were really helpful. And I just referred the ETS official templates, the writing templates, 1 or 2 days prior to my test. And it was really easy after going. I took around 2 weeks to prepare for the TOEFL test, and it was a hassle-free experience. It was quite easy.
That's great to hear that you had such a good experience. What score did you end up getting, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, I scored 103 on 120, which is a decent score according to me. And I scored a 28 on the reading, 28 on the listening, 23 on the writing, and 24 on the speaking test. That was my breakup.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice. So going back to what you were saying was pretty easy and convenient. You liked that there were no distractions. What about when it came to breaks? What was that like since you were alone at home?
Yeah, you have an optional break of 10 minutes after you finish 2 of your sections. Yeah, you can leave your workspace during your break and you can go out, but you need to be back by 10 minutes or else they might cancel your exam. So you need to be careful about that point. You need to keep it in mind. The time frame plays a major role. But you can relax during your break. You can have some water, you can have something to eat.
And when you come back in the room or when you're ready to start the exam again, do you meet with the proctor to do a security check?
Yes, you need to repeat the security check once again. You need to show your room again. And in my case, they asked me to show my ID proof also again. Because the proctor changes when you take the break, there is a different proctor which connects. So they need to verify. And after probably it's just a 2 to 3 minute process, after which you're good to go with the rest of your sections.
And does it take a long time to do that security check, or is it pretty streamlined?
No, it doesn't take a long time. It takes around 2 to 3 minutes.
Great. Is there anything else that you would want to share with the students about your experience?
Actually, in my case, the internet disconnected in the middle. There was a small interruption, and I was worried for a short period of time. But the proctor was very helpful. The proctor restarted my computer, connected it again. The proctor has remote access to your computer, so they can use it as well. So they just restarted the test once, and I was good to go in about 5 minutes. So you don't need to worry if there are any interruptions or your test gets interrupted. They will take care of it from their end.
Was that in the middle of one of the sections that happened?
Yes, that was in the middle of one of my sections. I was doing my speaking task and suddenly it wasn't saving, and an error popped up saying error in the ETS test browser, and I was worried. Then the proctor chat opened and she replied, nothing to worry, there is a small glitch. And they restarted my laptop. Then again the proctor connected and restarted my test. It took about 5 to 10 minutes, but then I got back to it.
And you had the chat window to communicate with the proctor. Is there a different way you were able to communicate with the proctor as well?
No, in case of any interruption, the chat window automatically opens and you can communicate with the proctor without any issues.
Well, despite that little glitch, you ended up still getting such a good score, so it didn't distract you too much, which is good to hear.
Yeah, but I was initially worried what will happen. For 1 or 2 minutes, I was certainly worried, but then after that, it was a seamless process.
I'm glad to hear that. It sounds like you had an overall good experience taking the TOEFL home, and you got an awesome score. And I wish you the best with all the things you have coming up and your plans to study abroad.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Even I want to thank Magoosh team for providing such amazing content which helped me throughout my process. And I've used Magoosh even for GRE. Even that helped me a lot. So I recommend it to everyone.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Hitesh. And for others watching, you can get 20% off TOEFL prep if you use the code TOEFL Home 20, TOEFL Home 20, and get access to the prep that Hitesh used to study and get a 103 on his TOEFL. Thank you, Hitesh, and happy studying to everyone.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.